In here today, man, we've known each other like almost like our whole lives here.
Long time,
Long time, yeah, high school. Roberto Durand, and that's with a D at the end, not the famous boxer Roberto Durand, Roberto Durand. So you're not a famous boxer, but you were an excellent soccer player.
I was.
And you have segued into a specific industry. Tell us, what are you doing nowadays, and how'd you get into the industry?
So, before we get to that, I used to be a barber.
Okay.
Cut hair a lot.
I remember that. That was awesome. I felt like I had to get a haircut when I came in today just to like be sharp like next to you. You know?
So I used to be a barber, and I used to have people coming into the shop a lot and asking if, do you know any good realtors? And I would pass them along, and I wasn't expecting anything from the realtors at that time. But then I kind of found out the commission that they were making. And so kind of a light bulb kind of went off in my head.
Or like a cha-ching.
Something like
cash register sound.
So I did my research, found out what it took to be a realtor. So I did all the requirements, all the qualifications that it needed.
And what did it take? Like really quick for people out there that might be watching. So
you have to take a course. I did the course in person, and the reason why I did it in person and why I actually recommend going in person is because you are going to get questions that you normally don't think to ask from other people in the classroom.
Yeah.
So you want everybody else's input, you want everybody's questions, and then obviously you want to put your own questions in there, put your own input. So you have to take a course, you have to pass the exam. Once you pass the exam, then you have to apply for the license. And once you apply for the license, then you're pretty much registered to take the state exam, which at that point you have to go into a Pearson and take the exam.
Actually pass the test, which is a tough thing. I think a lot of people, there's like percentages of people that don't pass that first time. It's a tough thing,
it is.
But it's worth it.
It is worth it.
So you fast forwarded, you got to that test, you passed it first time, you were in and out in 20 minutes, done, handed it 100%. How'd you get into the industry?
So I got into the industry because of barbering. Because I wanted to make money. I wanted to make more than I was making. And I felt like the barbershop was a good starting point because you talk to a ton of people. A lot of professionals come in. And that's how I actually got my first sale.
That's awesome. So you were doing both at the same time.
I was doing both.
That's awesome. That's a smart thing. I think a lot of people do that when they're starting off in their career. It's important, right? Yeah. And you had kind of like a built-in networking scenario.
Correct, because I would get a lot of high net worth individuals that would come in, get their haircuts, because I was pretty good at it. I was good at cutting hair.
I agree 100%. I'm going to vouch for him here. Excellent barber.
I was pretty good at it, and I would talk about real estate, and one gentleman trusted me with his house. My first house that I sold was in Point Sieta Heights, out here in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Sold it for $500,000, and when I got that check in my hand, it was like, I can do this.
That's it.
I can do this forever.
That's awesome.
This is great. Why? I still kept the barber shop thing on the side because you never want to get rid of that extra income.
Of course.
Until this day, I still cut hair, but in my garage, and these are for the people that have been with me for forever.
That's so cool.
My VIPs.
Who would you shout out? I can name I remember some of the guys you were friends. Mark Stanley. We played golf with Mark Stanley.
Mark Stanley.
He's kind of in the real estate industry. What he does? Was it mold remediation, HVAC?
So my friend Mark, he owns a mold assessment company.
Okay.
So they go into a house, they do air lab testing, that sort of thing to check if there's any mold in the air.
Yeah. Very important in South Florida.
Very important in South Florida.
Yeah. Who would you shout out? Who was important? Who's the VIP that's coming over to the garage and getting the haircut?
Oh man, so there's so many. So there's I guess my friend Jeff Lassen. He owns Right Way Transport.
Awesome.
Big company. Shout out to Jeff. He's doing great big things out there with the car shipping industry. Who else? Doug Philippone. He's very big in the defense sector.
Okay.
With the government, with Palantir. He has his own VC company called Snowpoint. They're doing great big things. I would definitely recommend checking them out because I think he's doing really well.
That's awesome.
And I think the company's going to do fantastic.
That's so cool. I mean, there's so many. like kind of parallels and left and right to the real estate industry. That was something that I came to find just through my own career and the things that I had done. I love, you were saying that the shipping of the cars, and I love the supercars and all that stuff like you do. So that's a really incredible story. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I have to shout out a guy who I know is kind of has a similar story. Maybe I'll have him come in and we can all sit down and talk one day. Do you know Greg Young? You heard of Greg Young?
I do not.
He has Nobleman's Barbershop in downtown Fort Lauderdale. He's kind of a similar story in that he has the barbershop and does real estate and has that built-in kind of networking experience. So maybe we'll kind of get that all together. But I want to move the conversation a little more into the marketplace, market watch, what's been going on in the industry lately, because it's not a roller coaster, but every industry is. But let's just say, analogy-wise, it's been a bit of a roller coaster news-wise. We have things that come in and come out, and are people buying? Are they selling? Where are we at?
So it's everywhere, and everybody's different. Every city is different.
Mm-hmm.
Things in the luxury market, they're flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
Things in the kind of like middle class, I would say in between like the 400s to like 800s, it's not how it was before when COVID was around.
Mm-hmm.
Before you can list your property and there was a frenzy, bidding wars. You just don't have that anymore. You don't have that.
What do you see? What do you see now instead of bidding wars? What can buyers and sellers expect?
So
when
I've
they
seen
get
a lot of people sitting, a lot of properties sitting on the market now for over the 45-day period.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because they're still expecting the COVID prices,
right,
when they haven't touched their house since like 1970.
Yeah, like the roof. They might need some new kind of drywall. There might be all kinds of things that need to be done.
It could be anything. Updated bathroom, kitchen, even the backyard. Backyards make a huge difference in the purchase prices. People love being at home now, being in their backyards, enjoying their pool. So the nicer your backyard is, you're going to get a really good price for your home. But you're just not seeing these, like especially these houses in Margate where they're $450,000 and they need about $100,000 worth of work, and the highest comp in the community is $400,000. So it's just not going to happen anymore.
Right.
So you see these houses sitting over 100 days on the market, and they're just stagnant. They're not.
But it sounds like you have a lot of experience in the industry. Are you seeing are sellers are they making concessions? Are they offering to do closing costs? Are there things that sellers are doing to make it a little more appetizing for buyers to come to the market?
So you would think they'd be doing that, but they're not.
Okay,
they're not.
So we've got to educate them. So we've got to get these sellers to know that you can still kind of end off with the same price you were looking for in your home,
right,
but you can get them to the closing table a little easier.
A lot of these sellers they're emotionally attached to their homes, right? So they're going to ask for, and it's right for them to do so.
Of course,
you want to ask for the highest amount you can get.
That's
for your
baby,
home, which is fine, but you have to be realistic at the same time, right? If your house is sitting on the market for over 100 days, something's up. Something's up. So something has to change. It's not the marketing. It's been on the market for 100 days. It's not the marketing. It's your house. You have to either fix it up, spend the money to fix it up, put new furniture in there, stage it, make it sellable. Yeah. Then you'll get the price and number that you want.
That's why you got to get with a real estate professional. So we have all these conversations about the NAR settlement and stuff like that, and what's the industry going to be like. But that's why you need a real estate professional on both the buyer and seller side. On the seller sides, I'm hearing that it's for these owners that have had their homes for a long time to do an inspection on their own property before they start to put a number on it and things like that, so that the real estate professional can come in and give suggestions. You used Margate as an example. Mm-hmm. Have you had any experiences where you've gone in and spoken to a seller about how they could, prepare their home to be in a better position, and then saw it sell in the marketplace?
Well, you always recommend and you always suggest things, but whether they do it or not, that's a whole different story. Some of these people don't have the money to renovate and to do these things, which is fine. But then they have to come to a realization that the price has to come down.
Right, because I'm not now. I'm a real estate. I am a realtor and I'm a marketing director in all these things. But when I'm sitting here in this hot seat, I'm simply a host, and my position here is to help real estate professionals, share this information with you. So a lot of the things that we're saying, I don't want you to think they're like aha moments or that we prepared this in advance. We didn't, but this is definitely a roll up the sleeve conversation. So this is something that sellers can sit here and listen and pull some nuggets out of this and some information. Give me an example example, give me like a list of a few things, and we touched on them, but just you're talking directly to sellers. What are a few things that they should be looking at when they're getting ready to prepare to sell their home?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So typically, you want the house to sort of look like an Airbnb property. You want less clutter.
Ready for a party?
No. Just like no. Airbnb properties managers hate that. No, definitely not. Don't do that.
I was just kidding. I have to have a little humor here. We're having a little fun.
No. So you definitely want it to make like a hotel room, right? Nice and clean, very simple. No personal belongings on any tables, any desks. I don't want to see bras, toothbrushes, toothpaste in the bathroom floors. I mean, come on.
The home goods decorations.
Yeah.
Live, love, laugh.
Yeah, you know what? And smells make a big difference in a house.
I had a burrito last night. I'm sorry. Oh, we're talking about the house. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the studio. We are in a place of business. I apologize.
Listen, you walk into a house, it smells like mildew, mold. Yeah. People are going to be turned off by it.
You better call Mark Stanley and get HVAC mold remediation immediately.
And immediately their brain's like, nope, I don't want it.
Right.
But if somebody walks into a place where it smells nice and fresh, it's very inviting. Smells make a big difference, right? Visuals, you want bright, white curtains, white comforters, white sheets, white pillows, everything white, because you want it to look very clean. Those floral things that I see sometimes on people's bed sheets, no, white. Everything white, clean, smelling nice, shades up, windows open. You want daylight in there. You want it not to feel like a cave. Those are really good selling points for, and that's a good advice for sellers to do.
So let's shift it. Let's go to the other side. So buyers. So you got a buyer. So we gave some awesome suggestions for people that might not be right at tip of tongue. You might not even be thinking about that, right? What would you suggest to a buyer out there? So they might not have never owned a property before. They're thinking about going out and looking. Maybe they went on Zillow. They looked up 10 properties. They're ranging anywhere from $500,000 to maybe $1.5 million. I don't know if this person is necessarily self-employed or gainfully employed. What do you suggest to that person who's come to you and they're like, Roberto, I got 10 houses. I'm ready to go out. I want to look at them.
Okay.
What do we do?
First thing I always ask is, do you have an approval letter? Like,
what is an approval letter?
What are you approved for? It's pretty much their buying power.
Okay.
How much they can
afford.
afford.
Who do I get that from?
You can get it from Fairway Mortgage, from a mortgage company.
That was a drop. There you go. All right, that was a setup. So, but honestly, you can definitely speak with whoever you'd like. We suggest our mortgage advisors here. But as a consumer, you can speak with whoever you'd like.
You definitely want to
get them pre-approved.
You want to talk to your loan officer, whoever your mortgage guy is. You want to know how much you're going to be able to buy, because otherwise you're just out there wasting your time.
Right.
If you get approved for $400,000, you go look for a house for $500,000, you fall in love with the house, and then turns out you can't even afford it. You're giving your hopes up, and already right there, that's a loss.
Also, there's a lot of caveats to that as people are buying and getting into first-time homeownership. To look at homeownership dues that are going to be paid, condominium dues that might be part of that as well. So when you sit with a real estate professional, they can really break down the costs of what a monthly will look like for you in total, not necessarily just your monthly payment for the property, because there could be some caveats to that might have it upswing, $1,000 or $2,000, and that could be a shocker when you get to the final table. So I'm hearing preparation is extremely important.
Well, it definitely is, especially with the rising with the taxes and the homeowners insurance down here in Florida. It's very difficult, and it's super expensive. It's gotten more expensive. Just to give you an idea, back in 2019, my homeowners insurance was around like $2,900. Now it's close to $6,500, $6,800. So it's gone up substantially.
Yes, it has. Well, I think we should keep talking about this. So I think we should do another video here. So we're going to circle it back and probably have a second video where we're just going to focus on market trends and stuff like that. But we want around the corner. I want to know what's your why right now, or a piece of advice that you can leave with someone kind of like get people going here.
Yeah,
we're going to have you back. We're going to have them come on. We're going to keep doing this.
So here's the thing with, especially with the new realtors and even some of the seasoned ones, go that extra mile. Go that extra mile, do that extra step that most people don't do. Give you a prime example here of just from experience. I had my client buy a piece of property, piece of land that was on the market for $1.795 million. We ended up settling at $1.7 million, 2.5 acres, and there was a lot adjacent to it. And he was a little bit curious about the lot, so I went ahead and found out and did a lot of research on the property. And these properties were all covered by LLCs or shell companies, so it was really hard to find the owner's phone number. So I found out who created the LLC or the shell company, reached out to that person, the lawyer, title company, whoever it was. And I told him, listen, I have a client who's interested in buying this piece of land that your client owns. He just bought the house, or the piece of land next to it, but he's interested in buying your piece of land. And he replied with, yeah, we've been getting a couple of phone calls. So I'm not the only one that was also doing the same thing.
Of course.
But they were getting a lot of lowball offers. So to make a long story short, we ended up settling for 1.875, right? So now we have 5 acres next to each other. So I think he was all in for 3.5 million is what it was. Held on to the pieces of land for about a year, sold it for an extra $1 million.
Let's go. Are you kidding me?
Right?
Come on, that's awesome.
So again, I implore you, take that extra step, go that extra mile that other agents don't do, do the research, and get it done.
Let's go. That was awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate it. Listen, how can people get a hold of you? If they want to talk real estate, phone number, email?
Yeah, they can reach me through Instagram, phone number. Again, it's Roberto Durand.
There's his logo right there in the background. LPT
right
Realty.
there.
You can Google him. What's the phone number?
It's 954-798-8688. And email is Durands, with an S at the end, Durands, durandsrealestate@gmail.com.
Awesome. What's your website? Because I keep seeing that pop up.
Durandhomes.com.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, we will be back. We want to talk more about, you have a cool listing.
I do, yes.
And we want to talk more about the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I appreciate you listening. See you soon.